now we are continuing with the last part of fourth unit, that is social movements in peasants and tribals, tribal uprisings. Okay, so peasant movements in the colonial India were a response to British economic policies that exploited agrarian systems, disrupted traditional relationships, and led to widespread hardship. These movements were driven by economic distress caused due to high taxes, agricultural stagnation, land revenue system like zamindari, rotwari, mahalwari, commercialization of agriculture, the forced cultivation of cash crops like indigo, indebtedness, famines, okay, and zamindar exploitation. So farmers, tribals, small landlords were all part of this uprisings. We can see the peasant movements in two phases. One is before 1857 and one is after. Before, it was revolts were often spontaneous. They were not that organizational. They were driven by local grievances. But after 1857, movements became more organized with political support focusing on economic issues and gaining national prominence. So before 1857, I have listed three major, what to say, important revolts. One is Sannyasi revolt, then Narkalberia uprising led by Titumur, targeting the landlords and indigo planters in Bengal. Then Pagal Panthis, a movement led by Karam Shah and Tipu Shah in Bengal, fighting against Zamindar oppression. So Sannyasi is an important one. Sannyasi revolt, okay, not the date, not the time, year and all. So it was led by Masnoom Shah and supported by Bhavani Pathak and Devi Chaudhurani in Bengal. It was protesting against British restrictions and also protest against Bengal famine. For this, the sannyasis and fakirs joined together for the revolt. Fakirs are a group of wandering Muslim religion mendicants in Bengal. Anandmath novel of Bankim Chandra Chatterjee is based on the sannyasi revolt. Okay, so how did they do? What they did was that they attacked the English factories. They seized the goods, cash, arms, and uh, all the things of these English factories. Okay. Then Nakalberi uprising, Pagal Pandi. So post 1857, we have very important ones here in the post 1857. Okay, the first one is Indigo Revolt. It was in Bengal. Peasants resisted European planters indigo cultivation, leading to violent clashes. So this was led by Bishwas brothers. The government appointed the Indigo Commission in 1869 because of this as response to this revolt, and it removed some of the abuses from this system. Okay. Uh, Dinabandhu Mitra's Neel Darpan. The play Neel Darpan is based on this. Okay. Next we have Deccan riots. It was in Maharashtra. It was peasants revolting against money lenders. Peasants destroyed debt records and bonds. This was in response to the Ryotwari system. Okay. The Ryotwari system favored the Vanis village. Vanis means money lenders, and the cultivator caste was devastated. So the government passed Deccan Agriculture Act in 1879 to extend the protection to the Kunbis, that is the cultivator caste. Okay. Then there is Pabna movement, which is a Norrent movement for the peasants in Bengal. Then we have the very important one, Champaran Satyagraha. Okay, it was led by Mahatma Gandhiji, assisted by J.B. Kripalani, Babu Braj Kishore Prasad, and Babu Rajendra Prasad. So here it was the Teen Gatya system. Teen Gatya system forced the farmers in Bihar to cultivate a certain fixed portion of their land for the indigo cultivation. But it was not profitable. Okay, So the farmers protested against that Teen Gatiya system, and as a result of the Satyagraha, the Teen Gatiya system was abolished. Then we have Keda Satyagraham in Gujarat, demanding tax reliefs. Then Ekha movement, then Mapala revolt, which is very important. Mapala revolt happened in 1920, 21 times in Kerala, Malabar region. Okay. So the Nambudiri Brahmins were the landlords. Okay, they exploited the Mapala tenants. The rebellion had started as an anti-government and the anti-lord affair, but it acquired communal colors, as it was the landlords were Brahmins and the tenants were Muslims. Okay. The new land laws acted by the British government in 19th century gave landlords, the majority of whom were upper caste Hindus. So the sole legal of this legalship of this land was for them. But for years, these were the customer rights of the Maplas, and those were deprived here. So in Manjeri in 1920, the Malabar District Congress Committee in Manjeri in the year 1920 supported the tenants and demanded legislation to regulate landlord-tenant relations. The uprising reportedly led to the death of around 1,000 people. Again, after that, wagon tragedy happened when some of the prisoners were taken to the Pordanur prison. It happened. So, for several months, British authorities were forced to impose martial law to put an end to this all these problems, revolts. And after that, a new police unit was established to put down the rebellion. It is called Malabar Special Police. Okay. Then we have Bardoli Satyagraha, which is also very important. It was led by Sardar Vallabhai Patel. Vallabhai Patel received his name Sardar during this Satyagraha. Okay, it was in Gujarat. It was against the tax hike. That is against the tax hike of 22% by the Bombay Presidency in backdrop of famine and flood. Either the government appointed an independent tribunal for a fresh assessment, or it must accept the previous amount as the full payment. This was their demand. For mobilizing, there was Bardoli Satyagraha Patrika, a daily newspaper published during the Satyagraha. So, for the settlement with farmers, the settlement was mediated by Chunilal Mehta, a key member of the Governor's Council. He proposed 5.7% increase, and land confiscated by the administration would be returned upon payment of this tax. Also, those government officials who resigned in support of the farmers would be reinstated to their job. Okay. Then Tebhaga movement and Telangana movement, which you can read by yourself. So that's all about the peasant uprisings. Then we have tribal movements. So tribal uprisings in India during British rule were marked by the resistance against economic exploitation, land alienation and cultural suppression. It was mainly done by employing guerrilla tactics. Okay. Causes of the tribal uprising: a land alienation, exploitative revenue system, then the Forest Act and Indian Forest Act, which restricted tribal access to forest, then cultural suppression through British cultural activities British cultural impositions and Christian missionaries. Again, these four causes. Okay. Now we can classify the tribal movements into three. First phase from 1795 to 1860, having the traditional tribal leaders resisting the British rule. In the second phase is due to the disruptions to tribal economies, and the third phase, tribals getting engaged in nationalist, agrarian, separatist movements, often with educated tribal leaders or external leadership. Okay. Types of revolts, there are two types of revolts were there. Mainland revolts focusing on the regions like Chota, Nagpur and Odisha. These were driven by land alienation and exploitation, whereas frontier revolts in the northeastern India, part of India, these revolts sought political autonomy and independence from colonial rule. Okay. Now we have Shantal rebellion. Okay. We are discussing six tribal rebellions. The foremost important one is the Shantal rebellion, one of the largest uprisings. Okay. Shantal rebellion was led by brothers Sidhu and Kanhu in the region, the present day region, Jharkhand and Bihar. Okay. Just a second. Then it was the Shandals rebelled against exploitative zamindars, money lenders and the British administration. Okay. Under the leadership of Sidhu and Kanhu, 10,000 Shandals rose against these dreadful activities, pledged to establish a free Shandal state. Also, this revolt led to Shantal Pargana's creation, a 5,500 square miles from Bhagalpur and Birbhum districts. Mass scale violence accounts, books of money lenders and government buildings were burnt and their exploiters published. Okay. Then the second is coal uprising. This is in the region Chota Nagpur, spread to Ranchi, Hazaribagh, Palamavu and Manbhu. Reasons were that British penetration and law over coal chiefs caused tribal tensions. Occupation brought settlers transferring tribal lands. Merchants, moneylenders and British law threatened chiefs' power and the resentment to this led to the uprising against outsiders. Okay. Next is Birsa Munda revolt. And another one is the Paharia revolt, which is very important, which I haven't noted here. So Paharia revolt was led by Raja Jagannath in 1778 against the British extension of settled agriculture into Paharia territories. Okay. And the British brutally hunted and killed Paharias. After that, British adopted a pacification policy. Chiefs received an allowance and were held responsible for men's conduct. Paharia chiefs rejected the allowance. Accepting allowances would have led to the loss of authority. They retreated to the mountains, waging war against outsiders. That is Paharia. Okay. Then Birsa Munda revolt. It was in the Chota Nagpur region itself. Birsa Munda organized and led the tribal movement, giving the tribals a call for Ulgulan. Ulgulan means revolt. He urged the Mundas to give up drinking liquor, clean their village and stop believing in witchcraft and sorcery. He called himself Dharti Aba, father of the world. Reasons for this revolt were land policies of the British, destroying traditional land system, missionaries criticizing their traditional culture. Okay. And after that, this led to the establishment of Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act of 1907, preventing an easy land takeovers. Okay. The birth anniversary of Bhagavan Birsa Munda is on 15th November, Janjadiya Gaurav Divas. It is celebrated as Janjadiya Gaurav Divas. Then Rampa rebellion, Koya rebellion. Okay, I'll say Koya rebellion. So it happened in the Godavari tract of Andhra Pradesh, led by Tomma Dora, the Koya leader. Tomadura captured a police station in 1880 and defeating a colonel and his contingent. Koyas hailed him as the king of Malkangiri. Reasons for the rebellion was erosion of customary rights over forest, Mansabda's effort to enhance taxes on timber and grazing, police exactions and exploitations by money lenders, new excise regulations restricting domestic production of toddy. Okay, toddy. But after that, yeah, yeah, this itself. Okay. Next is Ramba rebellion. It was in the what to say. Ramba rebellion was led by Alluri Sitharama Raju, who, though not tribal, understood British restrictions on tribal life and organized Adivasis. This is also known as Manyam rebellion. Reasons were forced labor, embargoes on forest producers, restriction on tribal agriculture. In 1922, Raju and 500 tribals attacked police stations, stealing rifles, ammunition, gaining attention for their guerrilla tactics. The British forces struggled to contain the uprising, capturing and executing Raju in 1924, leading to the violent repression and arrest of many activists. Okay. Next is Rani Gaidinliu's Nagha movement. So this is in Manipur, Selian territory of Manipur. Okay. Initially led by Haipoi Jadanong, after that his cousin became the leader after his execution. Okay. There is Rani Gaidinliu. Her name was Gaidinliu, and it was Nehru visited her and honored her with the title Rani. Reasons for this movement was for advocating for the Naga self-rule and opposed British missionaries' effort to convert Naga tribes to Christianity. Gaidinliu, influenced by Gandhian ideals, led a rebellion, refusing to pay taxes and resisting British authorities. The movement had religious reform goals, but its anti-colonial stance made the British wary, leading to repressive actions. Gaidinliu was released only after India's independence in 1947. Okay. So that's it with the tribal movements as well. So our 4th unit is completed. In next video session, we'll start with our 5th unit, which comprises of partition, independence, integration of states. So I would be taking 2 topics for that: communalism in Indian politics and two-nation theory, partition. That's it. So yeah, till then, happy learning.